All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Farmer Tan podcast. If we sound just a little sleepy yet, this is kind of a first time for us. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning, and we've both been just awful busy with cow stuff and harvest stuff, chasing kids around stuff, and whatever all else is going on. About the only time we had to get together was first thing in the morning, and so here we are. We are undecided if we're going to be uninspired and unentertaining or if we're going to be unruly and unapologetic, but you might get the real deal today.
Yeah, for those of us that aren't, naturally morning people, we affectionately refer to this as the butt crack of dawn.
It is. Yeah, that is a fact.
Yeah. The sun's not up yet. It's that time of year that takes till, what is it, probably 7:30 before sunrise happens?
Yeah.
Light a little after 7.
Yeah, it is. It stays dark quite a while. Yeah, we have beaten the birds up by at least a good hour here. And yeah, but anyway, we appreciate you tuning in with us. I am Jake in the 308. Along next to me, the other voice you're hearing is Mr. Aiden Bushels and Beef himself. Jared, how you doing this morning?
Doing good. Yeah, I just, like you said, it doesn't seem that early, but it's just pitch black out. So it's kind of the long days of summer are coming to an end. And I think that kind of happens through harvest. You start out and man, it's still long days. And by the end of it, you just don't even know what happened. It's just dark all of a sudden. Harvest is kind of a time equalizer. It just robs it like that.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's all right. It is changing of the seasons. We are sort of getting into fall finally. I mean, we're dipping into the high 30s on some lows around here, but we are still cranking out 90 degrees in the afternoon, and it has turned into where is my sweatshirt weather.
I think the last time we did the podcast, which real time was 5 weeks ago? A month and a half?
Yeah, I think 5. Well,
not quite 5. But for sure a month.
About a month.
And I remember saying I think fall's coming by the way it looks. We've had several 90-degree days since then.
Yeah, and you were wrong because I
was wrong.
I think right after that we went through that week it was 90 every day.
Well, I mean, they were calling for 1.5 inches of rain and it was going to be 60. Yeah. Man, I was pumped for that and that didn't happen. I mean, we flat missed that one. So it's so dry.
Yeah, that rain, it never did materialize. And it's kind of disappointing, I guess. Maybe that's how you know you're in the drought is when they were talking 1 inch to 1.5 inches and good steady rain and nothing.
That's kind of when you know you're right in drought, when you miss the guaranteed ones and never catch the minor ones. And then there's, 2019 where 20% chance you're like, yep, it's coming.
Yeah, it rained pretty easy.
It rained every chance we got. So there's the two extremes.
Yeah, for sure. Which, I guess no real complaints as far as harvest goes because it has been, if you need to cut beans, pick corn, do whatever, get up in the morning and go do it. To some degree, it is actually, my wife and I have talked about this before. It's probably easier to manage in a drought. Because you just get up and go to work and do what needs done. That may be starting the pivot. It may be, going to the combine or whatever it is you're going to do. But, in all honesty, you're not planning around weather events.
No. But, the pessimistic side of me is kind of like, as a livestock person, those rain days are the days you catch up on that stuff and kind of some other things. And when it's this dry, it's just kind of go, go, go. Those things pile up in the background and you just got to keep going in the field and you just got to find the time to do those other things, either before you can cut beans or after. And so I think some delays are good, but yeah, for sure, getting the acres out, man, the grain is drying super, super fast.
Yeah.
It is dry.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Are you finished up on beans or got a few to go?
I think today we'll finish up on beans, and they've been kind of an odd year for beans, and I've been hearing it from a lot of people. The stems are staying a little green, but the grain is about that 8% moisture.
Yeah. I've talked to a neighbor, he went out and opened up some fields early, right at the beginning of harvest, and took some ends off and opened some stuff up and whatnot, kind of just making sure everything was going to run. And the beans were like, I don't know what he said, 15 or 16% moisture, and, they were hitting 90 on the yield monitor. And he came back a week later to start cutting for real, and, they were down to 10, and they were barely bumping high 70s, and so it has been an odd year. I know in the valley, a lot of those guys said that once the beans dropped, man, they went from wet to, like you said, 8, 9, it just in a heartbeat. And, if we could cut 12.5 beans, that'd be,
I know.
Ideal. But
yeah, it's this time of year you don't want to look up the studies about how much yield loss is in the moisture drop. But it's the same thing for us. It was too wet. Came back a week later, it got real dry on us. And looking at the weather station in the house, we've been getting down to kind of those lower 40s pretty consistently, or maybe upper 40s. But the humidity, the highest it gets is 75-ish%. So
yeah,
there's just not a lot of moisture in the air. We haven't had a ton of wind this harvest, oddly enough, but it's still dryland corn. Took some out. It was 11 moisture, and I'm sure there's irrigated corn ready. If we had enough manpower and machine power, we could probably hit everything at once. But that's kind of how this harvest looks. It's just go, go, go.
Yeah. Yeah. It is one of those years, but probably be done. I mean, a couple weeks.
I would think so.
Probably be buttoned up and ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess that's a little bit on the crop side. We've got soybean hay is all done and got that taken care of. All those bales piled. That is a daunting task itself. The one field I did there, 480 bales, I think is what we ended up with on the bale count. And so it was fun and exciting to make them. And then a couple days later, I pulled into the field to start piling and went like, what have I done?
Yeah. And Molly and I were talking about that. We're going by. It's like, yeah, hay is a great idea. And you're excited until you have to bale it and stack it. So
yeah. So I don't know. Owen volunteered. He asked if I'd pay him a dime a bale to stack them, and he's 10. If he was just a little bit older, it's like, man, I'd give you 50 cents to stack them if I thought I could turn you loose, but maybe next year or something. But anyway, got that hay all made, got that rye planted, spun the pivot on that because honestly, I had a neighbor come drill it for me, and I mean, he put it in probably solid 3/4 of an inch, and it's just dry dirt. So spun the pivot, went out and walked over that the other day, and it is starting to germinate and getting ready to come through. So, we feel pretty good about that. But cow side, we actually prig checked heifers 2 days ago or whatever, and did really, really well. Conception rate was just outstanding this year. So we're really happy about that, especially on replacement heifers. And so we thought that was good. Got them kind of situated for now. We're still probably a strong 2 or 3 weeks from weaning, I suppose, depending what the weather does. But went and put some salt and mineral out in the pasture, the last pasture the cows are in now. It looks really good. There's a lot of good grass there. So we'll probably be there for a while. But yeah, ventured down south for one morning, helped you do a little weaning or
yeah, I kind of did.
I was there anyway. I don't know if I was much help.
Yeah, like I put on the Facebook post, hey, we're still working together after working cattle. So been a few times. We've gotten along well.
Yeah, it seems to be fine. We're usually on opposite ends of the facility though. You're up at the front and I'm at the back just pushing more cattle. So
but yeah, no, we weaned on early this week and just went ahead and took the steers to the sale barn, sold them off the cow, kept the heifers for replacements, and probably cull the bottom of them in, keep them for fat critters for some friends and for ourselves. And consigned them too light, which I'd rather consign calves a little light than not. But like I said, the way they gained this year, just really refreshing to see kind of how well they did on the grass and the pasture, and being able to wean a little later. I feel like the last couple of years I've been early September just with the drought and kind of not a lot of grass left out there and trying to keep the cows in condition. So kind of got the weaning done. Calves are calmed down. Not a lot of noise. They weaned pretty good this year. I think all in all, just can't complain about cattle this year.
Yeah, really. Yeah, as far as cow-calf guy goes, really we've had a pretty good year. I was talking to somebody, and they're somewhat local, not immediately in our region, but I think they said they've had a combined 1.5 inches of rain since the 4th of July.
No kidding.
I think is what they said. I've been going to bump a buddy of mine who does live out in my neighborhood, just see what his cumulative total on his weather station has been, from about midsummer on. But yeah, I would believe that. It is ridiculously dry. But despite that, calves look phenomenal. I mean, they gained well. early indications, or we bred up pretty well this year, at least on the heifer side, and so hard to complain too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So something else we probably need to touch on. I got a little feedback from the last episode, and somebody pointed out the fact that we may have listeners from not Nebraska, which is probably true. And so if you're riding along with us from out of state, welcome. We appreciate that. Actually, we have got listeners in Germany and New Zealand as well.
All right.
And so good morning or afternoon or anyway,
good question.
Whatever time it would be where you're at. We are certainly glad that you're riding along with us. But brought up a good point. Somebody said, hey, you were referencing Runzas last episode, and there's probably a lot of people that don't know what a Runza is.
Right.
So I suppose we better address that quick. But Runza is, well, they say it's food like grandma used to make, but my grandma never really made onion rings. So
Yeah.
I don't know on that, but I think it is. And for our German listeners, like, I'm sorry, I do not mean to offend at all on this. I think it is probably really loosely Germanish based, but basically it's ground beef that you season up, mix it with cabbage and onions, and you cook that all down, and then you wrap that up inside of a bread type.
Yeah, bread fully encasing it. So
Yeah, it like
kind of hot pocket style. Think of that, except it's not crusty. It's just like a dinner roll kind of texture.
Yep. And anybody that like homemade Runzas, oh man,
Yeah.
it's hard to beat a good homemade Runza. But Runza is a fast food chain here in Nebraska, pretty much only in Nebraska. I think maybe they've got a couple locations just very bordering.
I think they've gone out, but as long as they can see Nebraska, I think that's kind of the rule.
Yeah,
They barely creep across the border, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. And anyway, so that is what a Runza is. Then, they have hamburgers and French fries and onion rings and all that sort of thing.
And
But
I do feel like we're so prideful of Runza, we kind of overhype it a lot of times. I mean, I'm not going to tell you Runza is the greatest thing ever, but it's really good. It's a good, solid food. But I've heard people talk about a Runza kind of like it's going to change your life, and
yeah,
it might, but it's kind of like how Texas people talk about Texas. I think Nebraska people kind of talk about Runza. So by the time you get there, you're like, yeah, it's great, but I was kind of expecting more.
Yeah, I don't know. I think our nature is to just think that we're awesome.
I know.
And we're more awesomer than everybody else.
I had a person, they're from Kansas in college. I don't remember what our conversation, but she's like, gosh, you Nebraskans are just one step behind Texans as far as how much you like your state.
And I'm going to argue with that. We are actually a fair amount better than Texas. So take that, Longhorn Nation.
Case in point right here.
Don't compare us to Texas like we're second fiddle. No, just kidding. If you're in Texas and listening to us, we appreciate that. We're better than you, but we appreciate that. Certainly better than Iowa. And let's see, who else can we offend first thing in the morning?
And now we are down to Nebraska listeners.
Yeah, and let's not even. Wow, we'll just let that be. But
let's keep our New Zealand listener on the hook.
Yep, for sure.
We love New Zealand.
We do, yeah. But no, wherever you're from, we appreciate it, and we probably get pretty hyped up over. So Dorothy Lynch, right?
Oh yeah,
Dorothy Lynch salad dressing.
I don't even know how to describe that.
Well, this is probably blasphemy, and it is not. It is sort of like French dressing in the way that
Is it a cross between French and Thousand Island?
No. Dorothy Lynch is Dorothy Lynch.
It is.
And when you go to a restaurant and you're like, yeah, I'll take a salad with Dorothy Lynch. And I get this maybe in other places, but even in Nebraska, once in a while you'll have a restaurant and they'll be like, oh, we have French. Is that okay? No, that's not okay. It's like when you order a Coke and they say, is Pepsi okay? And you're like, no,
yes, that's great.
No, it's not. If I wanted a Pepsi, I'd order it. Or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I have a Mountain Dew. Well, we have Mellow Yellow. Like, that's...
Yeah.
No. So it's kind of in that same...
It is, yeah.
Same vein, but, we can't help it. We invented, center pivot irrigation, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dorothy Lynch salad dressing. Probably a whole host of other things that we did really awesome.
I know there's some other odds and ends, but those are the major hitters right there.
Yeah.
The Reuben
sandwich, yeah. Pretty much for... a couple decades dominated college football.
That's right.
Still
riding that high.
Yep.
every off season.
Yep. And this year it is not
5-1.
It has not always been pretty, but we are getting some work done. So
I mean, bowl game seems likely.
yeah. So we're feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good about that. We're loud and proud and away we go. So anyway, much like the Union Pacific listens to this podcast, and when we got on them here a month ago about, kind of being a thorn in the side, and they straightened right up.
Did they now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They got their act together, because I think it was directly after that they rolled a train off the tracks here right east of town, and then they blocked a crossing for like a month while they, anyway.
I was just saying, on the way over here, it's coming back, and it's about 5:30. I was coming across this main crossing. I would think a couple short burst would have done on the horn. No, that's good 5 to 7. Just letting it have it. And I'm like, come on, guy.
Good morning.
Yeah, you can see there's headlights at the crossing. They are not moving. Just take it easy.
Yeah.
Crossing arms are down. Lights are flashing. Let's take a chill pill.
Calm down.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is our public service announcement to the purveyors of Runza. Make a breakfast Runza.
Right. That'd be so easy, wouldn't it?
And I'm not even going to charge you for that idea, but I'm telling you, you would sell, I was going to say 1 million, but I bet 1 billion breakfast Runzas. Like,
you ain't kidding.
So you take Runza shell, right? And then you make up this concoction of like egg and hash brown and sausage or bacon. Maybe you have throw some cheese in there and whatever all else. And you're telling me that wouldn't sell?
We should try the prototype.
I think we should.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I actually kind of know the guy that operates Runza here in Gothenburg. So maybe I should bring it up to him and see
the flagship location of the breakfast Runza.
I think, there's just no reason. And then you do like, along with breakfast Runza, like there would be some other breakfast side items that you could offer.
I was just trying to think what else we could retrofit besides the Runza. I mean, a hamburger is just a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, and everybody does
strips. That. I have seen fast food like take a chicken strip and say, hey, this is now breakfast.
You could have like
with an egg.
So, well, all right. So let's think of this for a second. What if you took so you have original Runza, and you take that concept and do breakfast Runza, and otherwise leave it mostly unchanged. Looks like a Runza, breakfast filling.
Yes.
But then what if we do a waffle in like the shape of a Runza? You throw some chicken strips in there, like chicken and waffle business going on.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know. That might.
They do have chicken wraps. So what if you wrapped it in a pancake?
I mean, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. CEO of Runza, we can be reached at thefarmertanpodcast@gmail.com, and just let us know if we need to try those out, because I think that would go. So,
oh yeah.
And actually anybody else for that matter, if you want to reach out to us, in all honesty, Facebook or thefarmertanpodcast@gmail.com are probably two of the easiest ways to play along. Those are the ones that seem to get checked. But yeah, I think we're going to go with a little bit of a new segment here this morning. And we did yep or nope for a while. We might bring that back at some point. I think I've actually got some cards picked out from the last 3 episodes that we were going to do, but we sort of never got there. But a listener kind of hit us up about, hey, why don't you do something like you have 3 choices, and you can, I think, Jared, you were saying like the sports talk radio will do the, you cut one, bench one, start one type of thing. And somebody hit us up about that same idea for this show. And I think we are going to do buy it, sell it, or burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
So we're going to call it BSB. But we need your participation for that. Write the show and give us 3 good options. And it could be, vehicles, farm equipment, situations in general, food,
life experience.
Yeah. Any of that kind of thing. And so do you got a good one for this morning?
Oh man, putting me on the spot here. Do you have one?
All right. So I was thinking about it a little bit, and we're going to go because, well, this morning it was actually decently warm. I think it was 50 degrees on the way in. But I was thinking about I'm going to do hot drinks on this one.
Okay. Yeah.
And so your three options are going to be hot tea, hot chocolate, cup of coffee.
Oh, yeah. So I'd buy coffee. I would sell hot chocolate. And even though I haven't had hot tea, I'd burn that to the ground.
Really?
I've had several people tell me it's great. It'd be hard for me to give up a cup of coffee for a cup of hot tea, I think.
Yeah. So this is the fun part of the game is I actually like all three of those. And so it pains me to have to do this. And as we were talking the other night a little bit, it sort of depends on the situation, right? Like it's circumstantial, but if you're going to force me to make a play on this right now, I'm buying coffee, selling hot chocolate, burning hot tea to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're forcing it upon me, but I really do like hot chocolate and even like hot tea, big teaspoonful of honey in there when you're not feeling so good. And I mean, that'll straighten you right up. But other than that, I typically don't do much on the hot tea side. So
I'm staring at a box of donuts here. We're both donut fans.
We are donut fans.
We kind of covered that. So I'll just make a quick one here. Glazed donut, frosted cake donut, apple fritter.
Well, okay. So I'm burning apple fritter to the ground. Mm-hmm. Not that I dislike apple fritter, but just out of those three, that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm probably buying a frosted cake donut. I'm going to sell glazed donut. Glazed donut's fine. Probably not my go-to. Still pick that over apple fritter, I think.
Yeah, I just switch. I'd buy the cake, sell the apple fritter, burn glaze to the ground.
Really?
Yeah, I would. I do like a good apple fritter.
Really?
I just feel like glazed is kind of the blah of the donuts. I mean, it's solid. I mean, but there's kind of upgrades. It's kind of the chicken noodle soup of donuts, I would say. It's always there. It's usually reliable. It doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And we don't have any video equipment up, you're welcome. And actually, if you want to donate to the podcast, we will stay video free. Otherwise, we're thinking about breaking it out. But if you could see, well, me anyway, you would know.
Sounds like a threat.
Yeah. If you could see Jake in the 308, you would know that he doesn't turn down many donuts. And so,
that was a thought I had. I'm like, man, is there a donut I'd just walk away from? If someone had a platter of just these kind of donuts, is there ones that you would just be like, I'm good?
Chocolate cake donut is not my favorite.
You would, if that's all you had, and you walk up, there's only donuts and coffee, and there's only chocolate cakes. And still take one.
Am I super hungry or no? Like, is this recreational gathering or
you're not hungry, but you're not starving?
I honestly think I drink the coffee and say, no, I'm good.
Really?
Yeah. Chocolate frosting on a donut is fine, but chocolate cake donut,
I kind of hear you on that.
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm trying to think of my least favorite kind of donut. It's probably a blueberry donut. I think even if those were sitting there, unless they were kind of bought from a grocery store, not a fresh donut. I'm talking from a donut shop.
Yeah, from True.
I still think I would take a blueberry donut.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I probably take blueberry donut over chocolate donut.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah, I think I probably do. That's how that's going to go.
Well, I don't know. Donuts are holy food.
They are. Yes, that is a fact. What else you got going on?
Man, I was just trying to think. We did some weed after the hailed corn. That's been tillering pretty good. I've been trying to push it, get as much growth on it. And I think today, let the cows out. I think they kind of got their wanting their calf feelings mostly subsided. So I feel comfortable kind of letting them out. And I'm curious to see how that goes, how the wheat regrows, how long it can stock cows. First time really grazing wheat. I know people down in Kansas, Oklahoma, it's old hat. So we're going to try that and see how that goes. Finish up beans, get switched to finish up a little dryland corn. And I think we're heading headlong into irrigated here soon. Oh, we got Milo to cut. I think that'll be next week. Yeah.
I might have to make an appearance for that. I enjoy Milo. I know a lot of people don't like it, but
I was going to say our first year growing it looks good. So I want to see how it yields, see if it's something I want to keep doing, keep rotating in, if it cash flows the way I think it will. So
yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
On the wheat side, is that strictly for grazing, or are you going to try to you're not going to harvest wheat in the spring off it.
No, just gonna graze it. Try not to take it down too far that it doesn't come back in the spring. I still want that growth in the spring to hold soil, kind of hold erosion. And I think we'll strip till into the growing wheat, probably plant into it. And then when we come across with the pre-herbicide, we'll kill it off at that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what we're thinking.
Yep. Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. We've been things are getting kind of busy at the store again now, guys weaning and doing different things. Grass, even if you have good grass, it's reached that point in the season where, it's getting pretty well dried up, and so there's a fair amount of supplement going out, whether they're creep feeding calves or, whatever, maybe switching over to some higher protein tubs or mineral. And so we're kind of getting busy there, which is good. Been working on that. We did, and you won't care about this at all, but we did get a chance to get the new camper out here. And so that was fun. That was maybe 2 weeks ago now, I guess, or I don't even remember for sure, but updated the camper, got a toy hauler set up now. And so kind of enjoy that and got a chance to take it out and try it out. And it's new to us, but it's a used machine. So like anything else, you got to learn a few little tricks or whatever. And this one's a tremendous upgrade. The one we had before, everything was manual. I guess it had electric jacks, but the slide was manual. The back stabilizers were manual.
Don't know what either of those are.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't. And maybe if you ever went camping, but yeah. But this one, everything is hydraulic. But I think we got...
Do you like hydraulic?
Yeah, and so everything's on its own switch, but it shares a common pump. And I think, and I'm not super up to hydraulic circuitry on campers, but from what I can tell, when you click the switch, it sends power to the pump, and then it opens a solenoid like on a stack valve to send it to like the front jacks or, the slide or whatever. Well, I think we've got a valve sticking or leaking by, because when you go to put the slide out, it lets the front jacks down a little bit. And so it's kind of like when the loader tractor wants to settle on you or whatever.
Right.
And so we got to get something figured out there. And
yeah, when I first started feeding my cows, I was using it's a 4010, I think, 4010 or 4020, ran on propane. It was my landlord said he let me use, but it was the kind you had to kick the PTO in to run the loader. But the loader would settle, and I was using a Kelly Ryan. So if you kick the PTO on the Kelly Ryan, there is no gate. It's gonna send feed.
Yep, you're wagoning.
So I had to turn in where the loader was above the panels. So you start off in the hay pile, set the loader at a point that you can drive all the way to the feed rack with an acceptable amount of settling to still get over the panel. And that took some coordination. I was pretty proud when I hit that right.
Right. Yeah. Everybody talks about the good old days, but
yeah, right.
There has been a fair amount of technology since then.
Yeah,
I guess
7810 has been much better.
Yeah.
Better feed wagon. Yeah.
Yeah. We're making some improvements.
When you're young and starting, you'll take anything.
Yeah. When we first started feeding calves, we had a 856 with a Henniker cab on it, which really just made it harder to get in and out because it didn't serve much purpose. And actually Kelly Ryan feed wagon, which the feed wagon was pretty nice. And if you're not familiar with Kelly Ryan, it's got an apron chain on the floor and then an elevator chain and then a cross chain in the front.
Kind of think a manure spreader with an elevator chain discharging out the side, and then takes it up and then another chain discharges out the side. But very similar construction. Yeah, and
a good piece of machinery for sure. Not a lot of mixing going on. So
nice thing is they're simple, easy to work.
Yep, they are. And when we'd load ours, we would build the load like lasagna. And so you'd put whatever on the bottom. Actually, we were putting either silage or distillers on the bottom, grain in the middle, ground hay on the top, then another layer of silage or wet distillers to kind of compress everything together, and it sort of mixes on the way out. But yeah, we have upgraded some since then as well. So that's good. But yeah, so those calves will be coming home here in a couple weeks, and then that'll be the end of the camping season because we'll have to be busy doing all that stuff. But but yeah, got a little camping done. One boy's been playing football this fall, flag football in that league, and so I think we've got one more game coming up, and then we'll have that kind of buttoned up. And So he's been having fun with that. The other one's been taking hunter safety. He has not particularly enjoyed that, which we kind of told him he needed to take it. He's not a big hunter, not a real big firearms guy, but we kind of said, hey, you're going to be exposed to firearms. You need to know how to handle them safely. You don't ever have to hunt. We're not going to force you to do that, but we just think this would be good, experience for you to just understand how serious this is and just learn how to be safe, and so he reluctantly agreed that, okay, fine, he was going to do that. And I think he enjoys the social aspect of it. I don't know how much he enjoys the hunter safety, but anyway, so he's kind of getting that about done. We've been working on that, and then just trying to get some stuff. The nice thing about the weather is we're able to get some projects done, and I think this weekend we got a set of corrals at home that need a little work on them, and so I think we're gonna build some corral there at home over the weekend, maybe just kind of a place to get horses out of the main corral. That way they're not in the way when we do bring calves home and all that sort of thing. But so I don't know, getting a few projects buttoned up there. I don't know if I need more hours in the day, because if we had more hours, we would just work more hours.
That's exactly right.
I just need more of myself or somebody as handy as I am to do some of these projects.
That's what I was thinking, recently, is like, sometimes it'd be nice if there are two of you, but I don't think we'd get along. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I picture working with myself, and I don't really like the image that gives me.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work either, for sure.
Hateful and hard to get along with.
Well, now that you mention that, because we'd both think we were right, and
that's
I don't
exactly right. Yeah.
But we both would be,
and we'd argue.
Or we'd work
with the same ferocity.
Well, yeah, maybe to some degree, but I think we'd work. Me and myself would work together well because we'd both know what to do.
No, it's the same, but I don't know. Kind of have a mind of their own, so.
Well, and unfortunately, I don't have enough money to hire somebody as handy as I am, so I guess some of those projects will just go undone for a while, but
I think there's some applause out there for people who've had to work with me. They're like, he's dead on.
Yeah.
It is what it's like to work with you.
I cannot speak for like your brothers or anything like that. I know as far as I think I don't mind helping you out. So
you got to leave.
Yeah. Well, and there's some truth to that. I imagine it's a little bit like being a grandparent. Like, the kids are great because they show up and you feed them full of candy and let them jump on the bed and flip the lights on and off, and then you send them home. Yeah. So probably the same thing. Yeah. When we get all done, I just leave and go home, and it's all good.
That.
Yeah. That's that. So
cow jumps over a gate and bends it. That's not your problem.
No, not at all.
Nope.
And I will never admit to the fact that, maybe I gave her the extra motivation to belly flop on that gate. So speaking of brothers, hopefully Derek's enjoying that GMC. Just wanted to get that out there because I know he listens and I know how much he loves that pickup. So hope that's all going well for him. And
coming to the store and getting feed and shots taken. Out of the brand of pickup he's been driving.
Oh man, but it's good to see he finally got a good one. So
he's a Nutter Butter fan, and you besmirched them.
That's well, you can't win them
and
all.
Reese's Sticks.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm actually starting to wonder if Derek's okay. Does he need help? I don't know. No, we're just kidding. And I guess while we're on that topic and making everybody
fan.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're just down to the guy in New Zealand now. But while we're making everybody uncomfortable, we'll just say good morning to Andrew. He might be the only one actually listening to this in real time. Well, not real time because we're not live, but.
No, we're not.
I don't think.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Unless we poked a button we didn't mean to. But I do know he's out working hard in the feed truck. And so I don't know what time he actually gets going on that, but
boy, I don't know.
I bet he's feeding now, probably.
I bet so.
So, yeah, so that we appreciate that too very much. But so
he's listening to our feed conversation, thinking amateurs,
He probably is. Yeah. He's really got no time for.
It's like your one load of feed a day for 3 months.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think he just listens because it helps him pass the time. It's just background noise.
It is.
It's like when you turn a fan on in the bedroom when you go to sleep. It's.
Yeah, don't sleep, Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't go to sleep.
I mean, bunks are straight, but
yeah, we don't want you to.
Not that straight.
No, jump a wheel over the bunk. That'd be,
Don't be DoorDash.
oh yeah. Boy, that'd be a bad, don't feed the wrong pin either.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Or maybe they all get the same thing. I don't even know.
Well, I don't know either.
Well, probably they don't all get the same thing, but
Some way, shape, or form.
yeah, they're all getting the
It'll
same
eat.
ingredient. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just open the gate and go like a wild man.
Yeah.
Hey, but I will tell you, when I was working for the guy chopping silage back in the day, and we chopped at some pretty sizable feedlots, and I will tell you, the guys in the feed trucks, and actually one place we went to, they handed you a printed off sheet of rules. And one of the rules was feed trucks always have the right of way, but they sort of command the right of way. Like I think that's understood.
They just forget traffic
Oh,
laws
man.
out there. I mean, it's just
Yeah. Yeah. You're all big and you're
that feeling you
Rotomix
get
and-
when you're in the major city on the freeway and people are just kind of changing lanes left and right, weaving in and out. I mean, that's kind of feed trucks around semis. You
yeah.
keep your head on a swivel.
Yep, you do. You get in your Kenworth with your Rotomix box, and suddenly you're second to none, man.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you're Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Who else can we make uncomfortable this morning?
We that answers our question open. I guess we're just a little hateful in the morning.
We are. Yeah. Morning
We're
is
just kind of curmudgeons. We just go after people.
yeah, we're slightly uninspired, but
we are not bold enough to go after, spouses. That would be
no.
no,
Nope. Not going there.
nope. That's the line.
Well, absolutely. Well, and we wouldn't have anything to go at them with.
That's a good point.
And I'll be honest with you. I feel terrible for everybody else. Well, the other men, right, in the world, because we got the two good ones. The rest of you are just going to have to do the best you can.
That's
so
right.
We're sorry about that, but
And glad they have poor judgment and eyesight, I guess.
yeah. I don't know what Aaron ever saw in me, but
Not you saw either.
but I'm glad she was. I don't even know, desperate, gullible, in love.
I told
I don't
people
know,
once we
but-
were asking about Molly and what she was doing, and she was doing volunteering for something, probably baking something for somebody for some event, and on top of everything else she had going on. And they asked her, like, is she kind of one of those people that can't say no? And I said, yeah, that's probably why we're married.
Yeah, right.
And I laughed, and then I thought more about it. I'm like, oh, that might be true.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of funny. So Aaron and I, we met at the university when we were down there going to school, and she says I was stalking her. That is not. I was just being persistent, and there's a big legal difference there. But I was trying to do everything right. I met her at a social function one evening, and I just said, hey, I'm Jake, and and you are, and she's like, I'm Aaron. Okay, well,
Nice to meet you.
we didn't expand on that much. And I said, oh, okay, well,
She told you her real name.
yeah, right. And I said, well, I'm from Fairbury. Like, where are you from? And she's like, you wouldn't know. And I'm like, boy. And I was like, well, try me. And she's like, do you know where Brady's at? And I'm like, no. And okay, now keep in mind, I grew up in Fairbury, so southeast Nebraska. Anything west of Highway 81 at York was western Nebraska. Okay. And so I said, no, I don't know. And she's like, do you know where Gothenburg's at? And I'm like, no. And she's like, do you know where Kearney's at? And I'm like, oh, I've heard of that. I do.
Getting warmer.
Yep. I think I've been there once, type of thing at that point. And she's like, okay, well, we're like an hour west of there. And I just remember thinking, like, boy, like, do they got running water out there? Or do you still got to go down to the creek with a bucket? But I'll be honest with you, I've been out here for like probably almost 18 years now, I think. And I sincerely love it out here. I really do. But at that point in time, I don't know if she was interested in getting involved with this guy from southeast Nebraska, but I kept pursuing, wearing her down. I kept pursuing. And, she finally came around a little bit, started being friendly, and we were talking and hanging out in group settings with other friends, mutual friends. We kind of had a similar circle of friends. And we had a big snowstorm, and we'd all went sledding. And so we're out sledding, and I kept sort of trying to get her, just one-on-one a little bit, just so I could visit a little. And so I would slide down the hill. If she was walking back up, I would strategically, wipe out on the sled so I could walk.
I was going to say you hit her.
So, yeah, in hindsight, I should have just mowed her down.
and mowed her down and grabbed her.
Yep, had that conversation then. But so after about 3 or 4 of those, and her probably thinking like, man, this guy is a terrible sledder. But it never failed. Somebody like Kirby or Timmy or Kep or somebody, Muller, one of them, somebody would wreck, and then they, oh man, blah 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 blah. Right next time, I'm like, thanks guys, you can't read the room at all. So anyway, it's kind of a running joke now, but she studied for more tests and quizzes than anybody I know. Like, hey, we go grab a burger or something, some night, and like, oh, I got a quiz I got to study for. Oh, okay. And hey, you want to go, whatever, something here coming up, I got a test. Like, my word, like you have more tests and quizzes, right? And so, but anyway, but I just said, hey, what are you doing next Tuesday? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I don't think anything. And I'm like, oh, great. I would like to take you out to supper if you'd like to go with. And she's like, okay, we'll do that. And I, yes. And about halfway up the hill, she's like, hey, wait a minute. That's Valentine's Day. I'm like, hey, you already said yes. Gotcha. So our first official date was on Valentine's Day. And I guess the rest is history after that. But I don't know. Maybe she was just Twitter pated and couldn't. And I mean, in all fairness, I had a pretty sweet Super Duty, and I was wearing pearl snap shirts. And I mean, that
does it.
I think that sold her. So.
No, Molly and I were both agronomy majors. That's kind of how we met. It was just same major agronomy club. Kind of did a couple crop judging trips and all that. And then there's just started kind of hanging out with a group of friends I was hanging out with, and real rowdy crowd. We just meet Friday nights and play cards.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we did. And she enjoyed that, but she lived just off East Campus in an apartment building
on the north side,
33rd and Holdridge.
Oh, yeah.
She would walk herself in the dark down the alley behind those gas stations.
Oh,
and
like that little smoke shack on the corner there, that neighborhood.
Yeah. It was right behind that. So when I heard she was doing that, I was like, no, you're not doing that by yourself. Like,
I will
walk you there.
I am going to be kidnapped with you.
Yeah. It's like,
well played.
So we did that. I mean, at first it just started off as friends, but kind of kept doing it. And then it's not kind of my MO at all, but I was close to graduating when she started kind of hanging out. So I only had like 3 weeks before I graduated.
Time was short.
It was. So kind of before I was real comfortable, we went ahead and asked her out. And that summer, she already had an internship lined up in Valparaiso, not her hometown in Nebraska, but Valparaiso, Indiana.
I really thought you were going to say she already had a boyfriend. Sorry. Wow, Valparaiso, Indiana, though.
Yeah, same town, different state. So she went and did that. So we were long distance our first summer. And a week into dating, we were just talking about being married already because neither of us were really interested in making a long distance relationship work if we weren't serious about it. And that's kind of how our relationship ended. We just,
well, we going to do this thing or not?
Pretty much. not beat around the bush.
Yeah.
Down to brass tacks.
Yeah. I mean, we can spend a lot of money going on dates, or we can just get this thing figured out.
We could just, cut ties and be done.
Yep.
It's that you can't say no. I just phrased them all as yes questions.
Sometimes you just got to know how to
manipulate the question.
Got to work the system.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was highly effective.
It was.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I suppose we'll probably quit here being they're not here to defend themselves anymore. But yeah, there you go. That's how all right. So being we're sort of down that road anyway, I've got another BSB question for you then.
Okay.
All right. So going date night, and I am going to give you Italian restaurant, steakhouse, or, and I don't know how to phrase this, but like an Americana style Chili's, Applebee's.
Oh, okay, kind of a chain.
Yeah, like not Denny's, a little bit up from that, but like Yeah.
a sit down.
TJ,
Yep.
TGI Fridays or whatever, something like that.
Okay. I'm probably buying the steakhouse, selling the chain restaurant, burning Italian to the ground.
What?
And it's not because I don't like Italian.
Get out.
I just don't understand half the things on an authentic Italian menu,
Well, you just got a point.
like an Olive Garden. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I don't know what a carbonara is. I don't understand. Probably just pronounced that like,
Oh, brother.
like a real hick. Give me that carbonara right there. But no, I don't understand what that is. It's more a comfort thing. And I don't think Molly mind me saying we're just probably more comfortable either in a steakhouse or a chain restaurant than authentic anything, really.
Yeah.
Like a dressed up restaurant was not really our speed.
I can appreciate that. I'm probably, see, this is another one of those. I will not paint with a broad brush on the Italian restaurant because I don't like all 100%, all of them, but I do like Italian and I like Olive Garden. And right now you can flame me on social media. I don't care. Somebody is screaming at the radio right now. That's not authentic Italian. But when I'm there, I'm family. And so that's worth something. But I do like Olive Garden. There used to be a little joint in Cozad, little town over from here, and called Bella Italia. Yeah. And it was really close, as close as I know to being authentic. Mm-hmm. And it was really good. I liked it.
Yep.
Typical steakhouse type stuff. I like that sort of thing. I'm probably more of a fan of like sole proprietor steakhouses, not necessarily like chain steakhouses. And, the chain joints, I used to really like Applebee's or Ruby Tuesdays and that kind of thing. And I guess I still kind of do. The Applebee's in the area is sort of not the quality it used to be, maybe. Mm-hmm. I think they're having a hard time finding help. But so I think, honestly, I'm probably buying Italian. I'm probably selling the steakhouse, and I'm probably burning the chain to the ground, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's a really broad statement, though, because, I didn't even throw a barbecue joint in there, but I'm always in favor of a barbecue joint.
It's probably the same thing. It depends where you are in the country. I'm guessing the East Coast Italian restaurants are probably far and above Midwest for the most part. Just demographic, kind of like your seafood in Seattle's going to be better than it is here, and steak here is going to be better than anywhere else.
Yeah.
I went to...
And that's in Nebraska specifically.
Exactly, yes.
Because we have the best beef.
We are the beef state.
Yeah. So the rest of you, you're posers.
But yeah, we went to Breckenridge on our honeymoon and got recommended to a barbecue place out there, and it was a bit disappointing. If you want barbecue, it's probably not in the Denver metro area.
No, yeah.
But we did go to a hole in the wall in Lubbock, and Molly and I still talk about that.
Yes. So Aaron and I, we actually went to Corpus Christi on our honeymoon, but we road tripped down there. I think we talked about that before. Took the little green grenade and hot rodded down there in the old Cavalier. But part of the fun, I mean, actually maybe some of the most fun of that entire trip was we were road tripping, saw a barbecue joint we'd pull in. Like you said, I mean, we ate at some chain ones. We ate at some hole-in-the-wall ones. We ate at everything in between. One of my favorites, it's called the Hard Eight, and it was an outdoor pits, everything. They had a great big old awning over the top of it, and you just walked up and ordered it by the pound.
Oh, that's when you know it's good.
Yep, and then you'd get your meat. You could go inside then, and they had all the sides and stuff, and you bought them by the pound. So, I mean... Yes. You didn't have to buy a whole pound, but I mean, that's, that's how they sold it. And then I think maybe you could eat in there, but they had a great big area outside under roof, but open air picnic table stuff. That food was so good. I mean, so good. And I don't remember now, and she's not here to defend herself, so I can make it sound however I want, but it was by the pound. And so Erin's like, and she loves ribs. And so she rolls up there and she's like, I'll have 2 pounds of ribs. And the guy's like, 2 pounds? And she's like,
did I stutter?
She's like, a half pound, maybe? And he's like, only a half pound? And she's like, and I don't know how many pounds of ribs she ended up with, but that's a lot of ribs, turns out. But oh man, and we still talk about that place. That's down in Texas, and it was really, really good. And, honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts of traveling in general is just trying food in different areas. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what is Denver? What is that area? What would they be known for, I wonder?
The omelet.
Oh, duh.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
Denver omelet.
Omelet.
Yeah.
Which is tasty.
Hey, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
That. But I mean, that's what you're going to be known for. That's hard to hang your hat on, I would think.
Well, right? I don't know. We're probably upsetting all of our listeners in Denver now, but I mean, yeah. Although I do know we went out to the Denver Stock Show one year.
Yes.
And we went to a restaurant, and I have no idea. I couldn't even find it if you gave me a week. Can't remember what it was, but they had crepes there.
Oh, okay.
And or creepies? No, just kidding. They're crepes. But they were phenomenal. And it was they had the guy at like the crepe station, and you rolled up there, and he's like, "Oh, what can I get you?" And I mean, they had an array of fillings. You picked out what you wanted, and I mean, he made it right there while you waited. They were really good.
That just kind of sparked something. What's your thoughts on food trucks?
Oh, I'm pro food truck.
I am too.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be a roll of the dice, but
yeah,
find some good food.
Oh yeah,
food trucks if you're willing to take a flyer.
Oh yeah, I am 100% pro food truck. Actually, it's sort of like anything else. You think it would be fun, and then you probably start doing it, and then it goes from a fun hobby to like a job that you can't get away from. I thought it would be fun to operate a food truck, but I don't want that kind of commitment.
Right. Now there's one around here, Mr. Taco Loco.
Oh yeah,
Cozad, and that's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
I mean, they set up at Tractor Supply in Cozad sometimes, so you can just go, blow money in Tractor Supply and get a burrito and on your way.
Yeah, call it a day.
Yep.
There's also the Cajun Prairie guy.
Yeah.
Or when I was at Co-op, I was at the agronomy plant. They filled propane there, and so this guy, he'd come in and get his propane tanks filled all the time, and our secretary always called him Crocodile Man, which really has nothing to do with anything because he does not serve crocodile or anything. I mean, he does have alligator, but I don't think she understood there was a difference. But anyway, he's a solid. Cajun Prairie is the guy's name, is his food truck's name, and that, oh man. I mean, jambalaya and boudin balls and all sorts of good stuff. And
then I know my family's kind of been on the hook.
I am always out of town when that one comes through. Like, I keep missing that. I kind of want to go there. Yeah. There was one. So a good buddy of mine, we went out to a tractor pull actually in Colorado, and they had food truck stuff out there. And there was this one. It was really good. Really cool venue too. But they had quite a few food trucks. And there was one, it was chicken and waffles with like a sausage, rosemary gravy type
Interesting
stuff. It was so good. I mean, it's pretty good. I would recommend that. And I have no idea. It was just a local food truck. I don't know how you'd ever find it again.
Right. Yeah.
But it was good stuff. Yeah. I'm 10 for 10 on food truck. Absolutely.
Yeah, because those are people that want to be doing it.
Oh yeah,
not because they have to be doing it.
Yeah, and I am. I'm going to say this carefully. I'm somewhat of an adventuresome eater. I was blessed with a shellfish allergy, so I got to be a little careful of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but honestly, if you're going to have a food allergy in Nebraska, shellfish is a pretty good one.
Well, it's good you're not selfish like that.
It is.
That's a humble brag.
It is. Yeah. Well,
you're allergic to being selfish.
Despite what you may have heard, I'm a pretty good dude. but hey, you want clam chowder? No, I don't.
I'm not allergic to shellfish, and I still say no, I don't.
It's traditional in my wife's family. We all get together on Christmas Eve and, do soup and all sorts of stuff. And oyster stew is, and we were actually looking this up the other day, and I think now, go ahead and write the show if I'm wrong. What we could find is it's actually like Irish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that kind of surprised me. But if you go to its roots of origin, that's what we were finding was it was actually kind of an Ireland thing at one time, way back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Grandpa Dale, he always had a bowl of oyster stew, on Christmas Eve, and so my sister-in-law still makes a pot of that. Just I don't know. To me, it seems like a waste of milk and butter that you could make creme brulee out of or anything else that's good, and not something that looks and smells like boogers. But I guess it is what it is.
And that was kind of on our Aiden side too, which the Aidens and Clarks kind of branch back up to the Francis. Or is it higher than that?
I think it goes back there for sure.
So basically, Aaron and I are on distant branches from the
Yeah.
same tree
Yep.
at some point, and why that gets passed down generation to generation, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, vegetable beef, chili,
It's very good other options.
chicken noodle, oyster stew. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
snot soup.
But luckily, I'm allergic to it, so I don't have to eat it.
Well, that's what you say.
No, I am.
Prove it.
I have witnesses. but anyway, so I kind of that's what I like about food trucks, right? Is like I'm not scared to mix and match some stuff, and if it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
So, I kind of enjoy it for that reason. But
And if not, they usually move down the road. So
they, as one would with a truck. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's me.
Yeah, for real. Well, I don't know. Anything else on your mind or anything else you thought of while we were jibber jabbering?
Boy, I can't. It's not really up and running yet, I don't think.
Yeah, and we did this for you guys because we know how much you like podcasts, and we tried to get together a couple times and just, it wasn't going to work. We were both busy at different times when one was busy.
I feel like I don't have much for content because it's just been harvest day in and day out. So that's about all I have
Yeah.
to offer.
Yeah. And I was going to try to be a little more prepared. Honestly, I don't. It's not that I'm not a morning person. I kind of like it once I'm up and going because people leave you alone. I was not terribly prepared for this one and kind of half asleep probably yet. So anyway, this may not be a top 5, but it's probably top 7 because I think we've only got about 6 of them. But it was still fun. We still wanted to get together and do it for sure. And so, yeah, if you are harvesting, we just ask that you please be safe, be careful. It's really dry.
Real dusty too, hard to see through. So just be careful.
Yeah.
Driving around, just because you're past one vehicle, don't assume there's no more coming.
Yep, that's right. And, long days. And so just take yourself a break. We don't want to get anybody hurt, but just also be mindful that one small spark turns into one big fire pretty quick right now. So just be careful. But that does remind me of something. Okay. So if you want to be a smoker, have at it. Like I really do not care in the least. Actually, if smoking was not bad for your health, I would think about smoking myself. I mean, like I have that weird, and I'm not advocating for it, whatever, right? But there's something cool about people who look cool smoking that, and honestly, I kind of, we've covered this before, but I kind of like the smell of it. Not if I'm cooped up in a establishment and I have to smell it all night.
Wafting in the air.
Yeah. But if there's a little, Marlboro Red floating down the airstream outside somewhere and I'm like, that smells pretty good, Okay, fine. So I am not judging you guys. If you want to smoke, by all means, smoke up a storm. If you flick a cigarette out the window of a vehicle, I think we should be allowed to pull you over, and instead of a citizen's arrest, we just beat you with a tube sock full of nickels. So I was on the interstate here.
Pit maneuver you in a ditch.
Yeah. I do not have the tolerance for that.
No.
You can smoke, man. I do not care about that, but dispose of it properly. I was on the interstate here just a few days ago, and I didn't go that far. I was trying to think where I was even going, but there was 3 different burnt out spots in the median. I understand that could be wheel bearing or brake or some sort of mechanical vehicle failure, but I've also been on the interstate enough at night that you see that little cherry get flicked out and go dribbling down the road, and come on, guys, you're playing with other people's livelihoods. Like, okay, it goes in the median and burns up the median. It's no big loss. But actually, not too long ago, we had a fire right out here south and east of town that is what happened, and it jumped the median and it burnt through a fair amount of people's pasture ground and some other stuff. And so just come on, like, get you an ashtray, put it out. If you're still driving a car from the 80s, there's 6 of them in there. Like, take your pick. If you're a real man, put it out in your palm of your hand or whatever. I don't care what you do. Stomp it out on the floorboard or whatever. Just don't throw it out the window. Come on.
Same with kind of all trash, really. There's no need to be throwing that out the window.
Right.
Usually people doing it, the inside of their cars is already a trash can. What's one more thing?
Yeah. Agreed. And sorry, I got
to see all these exit ramps that truckers just get a Walmart bag full of trash and drop it right off there on the exit ramp. I just,
like, what in the world?
What are we doing?
Yeah. And, I have been guilty of maybe 2 of us get out of the pickup at the same time when it's kind of windy.
Yeah.
I mean, I have scattered a receipt or 2 in my day.
But like paper products, not a big deal, but aluminum cans and plastic, that's going to stay there for.
Or stuff that you, like, somebody that did not blow out.
Exactly.
You stopped and threw that is a kitchen sink. You literally stopped and drug that out of the back of your pickup and left it on the side of the road.
Right.
That did not blow out. But now I feel like we got to find something else to talk about. We can't end on a soapbox like rant about flicking cigarettes out the window. So
something positive.
I'm sure there's something.
There's got to be something.
I know one of the terminals on the battery is positive.
And here I'm thinking about the other one.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, I think we are going to cut this one off, but we do appreciate you riding along with us. I don't know if we'll do another early morning one. Might do a morning one, just not.
I was going to say, it's just maybe like I said, it's the time of year, nothing really worked for us. So, I mean, weekends are your time to catch up, and weekdays were usually elevators open. 8 to 7. So that eats up most of the day.
Yep, it does. So we appreciate you if you're riding pens, if you're feeding cows, if you're in the combine or you're in the grain cart. That's another thought. We'll try to quit this thing about 4 or 5 times, but we'll get there eventually.
We're doing the Midwest goodbye right now.
Yeah. Well, slaps legs, talks for another 15 minutes. But I had another thought this week. So we were preg checking heifers, and I was the caller of the heifers, the Pied Piper of the heifers, if you will. And it actually went really well because they were mostly interested in what I had. It was not a terrible pastured roundup anyway, but I was thinking, typically the guy that's calling the cows is the grain cart operator.
Oh, that's for sure.
Of the livestock world.
Yeah, that's true.
He's always in the wrong spot. He never does anything right. Even if he does exactly what he was told to do, you're supposed to think for your own unless you have your own thought, and then it was wrong. So
no initiative.
No.
Do not have any initiative.
Yeah, but come on, get going, and anyway. So just know, if you're in that group, I see you and I appreciate you. And you just keep calling them cows, call them till the neighbor's cows come. We don't even care, let the brand man sort it out. But okay. All right. Anyway, I think that'll do it for us here. We'll pull up to the end of the field and let you out, but we appreciate you riding around with us, whatever you're doing this week or wherever you're going. Just be safe, be a good person. We like to complain about what we got going on, but you don't have to look farther than just, your own neighborhood probably to have somebody else that could really use a hand. And certainly thoughts and prayers with the folks that are dealing with hurricane and hurricane aftermath and that sort of thing. And so, if you find yourself so inclined, make sure and take a little time to help some of them folks out. But until then, I guess, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. We'll catch you back here next time. Thanks, guys.
See ya.